Dr. Byron Orpheus is a necromancer who rents a room from Dr. Venture on the Venture compound. He is a divorcee, he has a teenage daughter, he is the leader of the Order of the Triad, and he is an active participant in the magical community. He is a good-natured and helpful man with a flair for the dramatic, but he may perhaps take himself a little too seriously. This is the story of Dr. Orpheus. Prior to the events of the Venture Brothers, Dr. Orpheus was married to a fellow magic user named Tatiana, and the two had a daughter together named Triana. At some point, Tatiana left him for another man, another magic user named the Outrider. Dr. Orpheus was also part of a group of magic users called the Order of the Triad, but they disbanded at some point prior to the events of the series. Throughout his life, he has received tutelage from the Master, a wise, sarcastic, all-knowing shapeshifter. In Season 1 of the Venture Brothers, Dr. Orpheus and his daughter move into a part of the Venture compound formerly used for arachnid research, making him an extended part of the Venture family. Early on, he expresses a wish to have his own arch-nemesis. In Season 2, that wish is granted when he is approved by the Guild of Calamitous Intent for an arch-nemesis, but he's approved as a team, which means he must get his old team, the Order of the Triad, back together. The Order of the Triad consists of Dr. Orpheus, Al, an alchemist with magic powers, and Jefferson Twilight, a black eel hunter who doesn't have magic powers for now, but will eventually get them. After reforming, the group selects a nemesis in Pyromancer Torrid. In the Season 4 episode The Better Man, we catch up with the Triad in the middle of a fight with Torrid, implying they've been steadily arching each other all this time. We find out that Orpheus, his wife, actually left him because he was something of a workaholic, and Triana chooses to move in with her mom and learn to use magic herself. Beyond Season 4, we don't see much of Dr. Orpheus, but in Season 7, he and the Triad express interest in buying a house together in New York City, setting the audience up for many, many New York City-based Order of the Triad adventures to come.
There was even talk of French toast, but there was none to be had.
Orpheus is a good dude. He's a good dad, he's good at his job, and when the Venture Brothers die at the end of Season 1, he's the only one who gives a shit. But he isn't without flaw. Another show I really like is
the first 3 seasons of
Arrested Development, a biting comedy about a dysfunctional family that greatly rewards repeat viewings. Clearly, I have a type.
Her?
It took me a while to realize that the show's main character and straight man, Michael Bluth, is himself flawed. He's sometimes overbearing towards his child, he takes himself too seriously, and he is absolutely a workaholic. Surrounded by a bunch of idiots, it's easy to miss Michael's shortcomings in much the same way that it's easy to miss the exact same shortcomings in Dr. Orpheus. And also, like Michael Bluth, I believe Dr. Orpheus could absolutely be the main character of his own TV show. The question of what would you like to see in a Venture Brothers spin-off bounces around the fan community from time to time, and the same 2 answers come up again and again. A prequel focusing on the OSI during the Pyramid Wars, and a Dr. Orpheus show. For the record, I would be fully on board with either of those things happening, but a show about Orpheus just feels like the natural Frasier to the Venture Brothers' Cheers. He just feels like this character with a whole life separate from the Ventures, with a family of his own and the Order of the Triad. Plus, this show could be the yin to Venture Brothers' yang by focusing on magic with a sprinkling of super science rather than the other way around. But I'm not actually trying to pitch a Dr. Orpheus spin-off, I'm just trying to say why he's such an awesome character, and the flaws that I previously mentioned just make him a better character. I've previously talked about how a lot of the characters early on are in one way or another intentionally written to be awful. Whether they're pricks like Dr. Venture, giant dorks like Hank and Dean, bloodthirsty maniacs like Brock Samson, or just straight up supervillains. Early on, I found myself looking for someone to root for, and that someone was the first of several characters that I decided was my favorite Venture Brothers character. Master of Mysticism, Dr. Byron Orpheus. Tune in next week for the story of Hank Venture, and as always, go Team Venture.